All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on the program. This is the Fountain of Israel Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor and a pleasure for me to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. I don't take it as a light thing. I think it is a big deal to be in this truth and to be able to come to an understanding of the Most High's word and what he wants us to do. So it's definitely an honor to be to strive to enter in to be a part of the Messiah's plan. So we're going to continue our series where we're just walking through the Bible. We're walking through the Bible, and we're going to go through Genesis chapter 10 to chapter 12, and it usually takes about an hour to go through the 3 chapters because we what I do in these particular lessons is I'll just walk us straight through, right? I'll read a chapter in the scriptures, okay, with the Hebrew language, and then I will go through with the King James and the Strongs and define certain terms and everything to give us a deeper meaning. These are these deep dive lessons, right? The other lessons are doctrines, what the Bible says about a particular subject all over the Bible, right? So that's really what it is. But right here is a deep dive. It's more concentrated, the reason we go to the Strongs, the reason why we look behind words and definitions is so that we can get a deeper understanding. A lot of times our own bias sinks in, okay? Or we have this presupposition and we're stuck in a particular position, and we have our own thought. No matter what the Bible actually says, we're stuck in our own mindset and our own thoughts that, okay, well, this is what it is, okay? And it's really the difference between eisegesis and exegesis, right? So this exercise is exegesis, where we go into the scriptures and see what the scripture is actually telling us, okay? We're trying to glean information out. We're trying to pull it out of the scriptures. Whereas eisegesis is you're reading into the scriptures. Okay, this is what I think. This is my presupposition. So when I go in there, then that's what I force the scriptures to tell me. I force the scriptures to say certain things to me because I already have this presupposition. I'm already biased. Okay, you're already biased. That's eisegesis, right? So, but what we want to do is we want to exegese the scriptures. That's why we're going through. We're just kind of slow walking and deep diving into the scriptures. And I'm trying to do it for your benefit. Now, again, this style of teaching isn't what everybody likes. It's not always what everyone's used to. This is more like Bible study. It's a deeper study. But some people, they like the other way. They like, here a little, there a little, line upon line, precept upon precept, which is what I like. I do. I enjoy that. I do enjoy that. But I think this is needed. I think this is needed so that we can have our deeper understanding, so that we can put away our biases and we can say, okay, what is the scripture saying? That's what we need to do. What are the scriptures saying to us? And that's why I'm doing this particular series, right? It's real simple. But Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank all of you guys for joining me in this lesson and on this program. I really, really appreciate it. That you guys will join me on this Shabbat so we can learn. So it's not about just, let's just read it. Let's just read Genesis chapter 10 and we read it line upon line and then we just go about our business. No, I actually do want us to get a deeper understanding. We're going to pick out words and we're going to say, okay, what is this? What does this mean? Where does this come from? And go from there, right? So let's go ahead and start Genesis chapter 10. We're going to start in verse 1. And our goal is to read 3 chapters today, right? And again, just to tell you guys the format so people know exactly what's going on, is we're going to read it out of the scriptures. Okay, we read a particular chapter out of the scriptures. Then I go back to the Strongs, and then we start breaking down and we start looking at words and things like that. This is a deep dive study, right? This is one of those deep dives. Like, we're not going to take pretty much nothing for granted. We're going to look at words. We're going to look at what's Gog and Magog. We'll look at who the Gentiles. We'll look at all these things, what is said to us right here. And we're going to use the Strong. I could use other resources, but for time and convenience, I want to use the Strongs. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Genesis chapter 1, or in the Hebrew, Bereshit, chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Chapter 10. Okay. Genesis or Bereshit chapter 10, verse 1. And this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japhet. And the sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japhet, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Yawan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Yawan, Elisha, and Tarshish, and Kittim, and Dodanim. For these are the coastline peoples of the nations, were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their clans, into their nations. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mitzrayim, and Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Hawilah, and Saptah, and Ramah, and Sapteka. And the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush brought forth Nimrod. He became to be a mighty man on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Therefore, it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh. And the beginning of his reign was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, and the land of Shinar. From that land we went to Ashur, and built Nineveh, and Rebohath Ir, and Kelah, and Rezin, between Nineveh and Kelah, the great city. And Mitzrayim brought forth Ludim, and Anahim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Paroshim, and Kasluhim, and who came the Philistines, and Caphtorim. And Kenan brought forth Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hawite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Awadite, and the Teshmarite, and the Hamathite. And afterward, the clans of the Canaanites were spread abroad. The border of the Canaanites was from Sidon as you go toward Gerar, as far as Azah. And as you go towards Saddam and Amorah and Admah and Seboyim, was far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, in their nations. And also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japhet, the elder, children were born. The sons of Shem, Elam, and Ashur, and Aspasad, and Lud, and Aram. And the sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And Aspashad brought forth Shelah, and Shelah brought forth Eber. And to Eber was born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. And his brother's name was Yoktan. And Yoktan brought forth Almadad, and Shelef, and Asamadwat, and the Yerah, and Hodoram, and Huzal, and Diglah, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophah, and Awalah, and Yabab. All these were sons of Yoktan. And their dwelling places was from Mishah as you go toward Sephah and mountains of the east. These were the sons of Shem according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. And these were the clans of the sons of Noah, according to the generations, in their lands. And from these the nations were divided on the earth after the flood. So that's Bereshit, or Genesis chapter 10. Again, we do this, we go back to the original language, and we go back to some of the some of the Hebrew words and things like that to give us a deeper meaning. We know that once you translate something, sometimes things can get lost in translation. So we want to go back to the original meaning, because sometimes in a translation, what we have to understand is sometimes there's not a direct translation. Sometimes it's kind of what the closest thing we can get, right? And then, as we know, the Bible, is translated through languages through the millenniums, right? So going from Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek and Latin, to English, so it had a long journey to get to us. So some things can be lost in translation. So when it goes from Hebrew and Aramaic, which is closely related, goes from Hebrew to Aramaic, that's pretty close, not bad. It's from the translation. Then it goes from Aramaic or Hebrew to Greek. You're like, okay, that's a little bit, it's a little bit, it comes from two different language groups, right? So Aramaic and Hebrew are from a Shemitic, it's a Semitic language, whereas Greek is not. Okay, so some of those word equivalents are not quite as good, and we just have to keep that in mind, right? So that's Bereshit or Genesis chapter 10, all right? So I want to read it over here in the Strongs and begin in Genesis chapter 1. And right here, we're going to slow down and break things down. Because you notice how some people, I'm not saying it's you, but some people, what happens when you do the normal way, okay, of how we teach as far as Hebrews are concerned, normal way we teach, we jump around a little bit, here a little, there a little, stuff like that. And some people don't like the stop and go pace. They don't like the, well, you read a little bit, then when you talk, go to another scripture, read a little bit, talk. Personally, I prefer that. So I do this so that we can read through, because we know some people's attention span is pretty short. So you can read something, hey, go with me to Genesis, chapter 12. Let's read verse 1. I just want the first two verses. You read those two verses, but some people, they just keep on reading, right? Because they don't want you to stop and talk and stuff like that. But again, all it is that people learn differently. That's all that really is, okay? So we're going to go ahead and do chapter 10, Bereshit or Genesis, and going to start at verse 1. Bereshit or Genesis chapter 10 verse 1, it says, now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, but in Hebrew, Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. And the sons of Japheth, I'm just going to click Japheth. Let's see what's going on. Sons of Japheth is 3315 in the Strongs, and it's pronounced Japheth. Okay, and it says the third son of Noah, who descendants after the flood settled on the coastal lands of the Mediterranean, spreading north into Europe and parts of Asia. So what we call the modern European, they are the sons of Japheth. Greek, German, Roman, Russian, so on and so forth. And it tells you exactly where they went, okay? When you look at the map and you start like Jerusalem, okay, you start in like Jerusalem or the Middle East, okay? Is what they say, Middle East. You start there and you start going northward, north and west, northwest and true north and northeast. You go those way. These are the isles of the Gentiles, or the nations of the Gentiles. Okay, this is where they went, right? Europe, Asia Minor, these are the places. That's where they went. Okay, so these are the sons of Japhet, right? So we have Japhet. Now let's see Gomer, okay? Gomer is 1586. The eldest son of Japhet and grandson of Noah, the progenitor of the early Cimmerians and other branches of the Celtic family. Okay, look, this is where you get the Celtics family from. Scottish, Irish, so on and so forth. Okay, and then the other one is just a name, the unfulfilled wife of the prophet Hosea, stuff like that. Okay, so we're not gonna, we know where that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so how about Magog? Okay, Magog, 4031. Magog, and the second son of Japhet, grandson of Noah, progenitor of several tribes northward from Israel. So north of Israel. Okay, north from Israel. Shalom, shalom, Julio Gonzalez. Shalom, shalom, brothers. Oh, do me a favor, guys. Let other people know that we're on live. Some people don't hit the notification, stuff like that, and just say, hey, Found of Israel got a Bible study going on. Check it out. Send them the link, share it. Let them know. We're doing a deep dive. So if you guys do that, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's Magog. Now, as far as a place, it's the mountainous regions between Cappadocia and Media, and habitations of descendants of Magog, sons of Japhet and grandson of Noah. Okay, so we're getting now. You're getting a mental map. If some of you guys are on a computer, go over there and pull up your map. So it's showing you, so that way you can pinpoint where this is where all these people went, right? So you can get a real good idea. But verse 2 in Genesis 10, the sons of Japhet, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yaphan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras, right? Or some people say Tyrus. Now, I'm going to look at Madai. Let's look at Madai, okay? And it says Madai. Okay, that's how it pronounces, and that is what 4074 in the Hebrew. A people descended from the son of Japhet, and whose inhabited the territory of Midian. Land inhabited by the descendants of Japhet, located northwest of Persia proper, south and southwest of Caspian Sea, east of the Armenian Assyria, and west and northwest of the Great Salt Desert of Iran. See, you got that's what, pull up your map, okay, on your computer or something. If you have it, if you're so inclined, pull that up so you can look and see where these people traveled to, where they migrated to, where they settled. Okay, so that's why I said this is much more of a deep dive. Okay, and then it says, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah, right? So we already read Gomer, so let's look at Ashkenaz. Okay, Ashkenaz is 813. Ashkenaz, descendants of Japhet, the northern people, perhaps of Bithynia. Okay, giving us an idea. We have Ashkenazi Jews right now. That's where they come from, right? People have a German descent. Okay, this is what the Europeans. This is where the Europeans come from. Okay, this is the line of the Europeans. These are Gentiles. Okay, so we look at that. Okay, Riphath. Let's see that, which is 7384. Riphath. Okay, this, the enunciation key is Riphath. Okay, the second son of Gomer. Okay, so that's all it tells us for that one. Togarmah. Probably won't say too much of that. Son of Gomer, grandson of Japhet, and great grandson of Noah. Okay, territory settled by the descendants of Togarmah, probably the area known as Armenia. Okay, so we have these people. It's good to know, where did these people go? What happened? Okay, the next line, Genesis 10:4, and the sons of Yavan, Elisha, and Tarshish, and Kittim, and Dodanim. Let's look at some of those. Okay. Yavan, a son of Japhet, the grandson of Noah. Greece, Ionians, location of descendants of Yavan. This is where the Greeks are from. Okay, right here, right under our nose, right here in the Strong. Where do the Greeks come from? Javan or Yafan. Okay, Yavan. That's where they come from. Okay, that's where the Greeks come from, plain and simple. All we got to do is look behind the words. All we got to do is click their word. Okay, who are these people? Where they come from? That's all we have to do. That's why I say this is more of a deep dive. Elisha, and I'm doing this for those who may not have a Strong available or they don't have it in front of them. So I'm showing it to you. This is where these people come from. Okay, so it's not being made up. Okay, Elisha is in Hebrew 473. Elisha, descendants of Noah, son of Yaphan, perhaps ancestors of the Iolians, okay? Or Aeolians, okay? Aeolians. So just check that out. So we have that, okay? So now we're getting there. We are getting there. All right, we did Tarshish, we did Kittim. Let's look at Kittim and Dodanim. So Kittim is 3794, Kitti, okay? It says Kitti, how to pronounce it, just Kitti. A general term for all islanders of the Mediterranean Sea, the descendants of Yaphan, the sons of Japhet, and the grandson of Noah. Okay, for the Mediterranean, so the Mediterranean. Look at your map. These people settled around Mediterranean. Okay, so let's Kitti and Dodanim. Let's look at Dodanim. Okay, Dodanim. Okay. It just says son or descendants of Yaphan. Okay, so they come from Japhan. Okay, so again, another Greek or European race. That's what it is. It's another European race. That's what we have. Another European race. And it says, verse 5, it says, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided. So let's look at isles. The isles, which is coast, island, shore, and region. This is where they settled. This is where they're from. Okay? Nice and simple. This is where they're from. No confusion there. Gentiles. Let's look up Gentiles. Okay, which is goy. Okay, a Gentile is goy. In the Hebrew, goy. So if you spoke Hebrew, you would call a European a goy. Okay, it says nation, people, usually of non-Hebrew people. A Gentile, a goy, is non-Hebrew. Anyone who is not a Hebrew. All right. Now you're gonna have people look at look at this lesson, look at it, and say, "Yeah, but the Israelites when they went to captivity and they were Hellenized, and then they became known as Gentiles." And no, we're not even there yet. Let's not jump ahead. We're not going there. Okay, we're not gonna change anything if the book didn't change it. We're not gonna do that. Okay, we're going to stick with what it is right now. Okay, in the context of what we're looking at right now, you have to pretend you've never read anything past where we came right now, because your mind's not going to jump to those things, all those things that you heard before. It's not going to jump to those because you were not like, you got to pretend I never heard that before. So your mind's not going to jump there. You never heard that before, okay? Pretend you never read past Genesis 10. And all you're doing is reading and looking up the definition, and that's it. And people can't knock you off your course. They can't knock you off kilter, okay? With own pet doctrines, and you won't have to worry about that, okay? When people want to jump somewhere real fast because they already have an agenda. In this book study, we've been going chapter by chapter, word by word. Nothing has changed, okay? Nothing has changed. So we're just going to go with what it says, and that's it. That's all we're going to do. What it says. Okay? Remember, pretend you're like a little child. You're 10, you're 12 years old, right? None of that other stuff is going to, none of that is going to pop into your head. Well, when they went into slavery, and then and then the Israelite, and they were no. We're not there yet. Okay? We're not even close to that. So we're not going to go there. When we get there, we'll deal with that when we get there. Okay? Right now, a nation, people, usually of non-Hebrew people. Usually that's what it is. And since we're dealing with the Old Testament, that's what it is. That's what it is, usually. Because you have doctrine out there that says, okay, well, people who didn't know. No one's scattered yet. Israel's not even born yet. Okay? There is no Israel yet. So there's no scattering. So it's no one's Hellenized or none of that. We're not even there. We're in chapter 10. Okay? No Israel yet. Okay? We're not even there yet. So this is where we're going to stay. Of descendants of Abraham. Okay? If you didn't come, usually of non-Hebrew people, of descendants of Abraham, the definition 3, Israel, or it says a swarm of locusts, other animals, stuff like goyim, nations. It basically means nations. Okay, so it's saying these are the nations of the Gentiles. These are the non-Hebrews. That's what we're talking about, Gentile. Okay, now the Hamites are usually not referred to as Gentiles, but they are non-Hebrews, right? So they could qualify as a Gentile. Okay, our Asian brothers out there, they're going to qualify as a Gentile. They're not Hebrew. So anyone who's not Hebrew descent, Abraham, so on and so forth, they're Goyim. Okay? They're Goy. So that's what we're doing. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Okay? And it says, the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations, right? In their nations. Verse 6, and the sons of Ham, okay, just look at Ham, second son of Noah, father of Canaan, and of various people which were inhabitants of the southern lands, southern of, the Middle East, what we call the Middle East. Okay, it's not really the Middle East, but that's what we call it, which is Africa. Okay, in late usage, a collective name for Egyptians. Okay, the place where Kedar Lamor smote the Zuzim. Okay, so they get into something else. The third one gets into other stuff. We're not there yet. But we know who Ham is, okay? Cush and Mitzrayim and Put and Canaan, okay? Cush, it probably just says just son of Ham, but okay. Cush, a Benjamite mentioned only in the title of Psalm 7, so we're not talking about that. So second, the son of Ham and grandson of Noah and the progenitor of the southernmost peoples located in where? In Africa. In Africa. Cush. Cushite. These are the Cushite people, okay, in Africa. The peoples descended from Cush, located, the land occupied by descendants of Cush, located around the southern parts of the Nile or Ethiopia. These are Cushites, okay? We're getting, the picture's starting to come clear now, okay? The picture's starting to become clear. So that's Cush. Mitzrayim, okay? Let's look at Mitzrayim, okay? Mitzrayim, a country at the northeastern section of Africa, northeast Africa, okay, Mitzrayim, Egypt, adjacent to Palestine and through which the Nile, Egyptian flows, Egyptian, double straits, and the inhabitants or natives of Egypt. So Mitzrayim, Egypt, same person, okay? Same thing. Egyptians, they're Mitzrayim, okay? Same thing. Okay? That's where they come from. That's how you know dark skin race right there. Dark skin race. Then we have Put. Let's take a look at Put. Yep, just pronounce it. Put. 6316 in the Strong's, the nation people of northern Africa, probably the Libyans. These are Libyans. Put is Libyans. Okay, most likely all roads lead to Libyans. That's why they say, okay, it's probably the Libyans. It's all there, right? All the clues. And I'm talking archaeological and the history. So they said, yeah, that looks like they're Libyans. Okay, so let's see, of a Persian tribe. Put. Okay, so that's your Strongs. Okay, so now like I said, we're doing a deep dive. Let's look at one more. We're not gonna look at all the names, but all the names that we hear about often. Okay, all the the main progenitors and things like that is 3667 for Canaan, right? Canaan, the fourth son of Ham and a progenitor of the Phoenicians and of the various nations who peopled the seacoast of Palestine, okay? The land west of the Jordan, peopled by the descendants of Canaan and subsequently conquered by the Israelites under Jashan, okay? A merchant trader. Okay, so now we have that. All that coming from the Strongs so that we can get a deep understanding, okay? So we're going to go a little bit more. And again, we're not going to just, go every single one, but there's a few we want to look at. Who are these people? Where are they from? Good clues. Again, open up your browser, get a world map, and then when you see these places, you look at it and you can see where people settled, where they went, where they traveled. Verse 7, the sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sapta, Rehamah, and Septecha, and the sons of Rehamah, Sheba, and Dedan. Okay, so we already did, let's see here. We did Cush already, so we don't need to look at that. Let's look at Seba, okay? Yep, Seba. Sons of Cush, nations south of Palestine, perhaps Ethiopians, okay? So, Seba, now you got Ethiopians, okay? Now we're starting to get somewhere. Havilah, okay? 2341 in the Strongs. Havilah. Okay, this one doesn't apply, but it says a part of Eden through which flows the river Paisan, was probably the Grecian cultish in the northeast corner of Asia Minor near the Caspian Sea. Next definition. A district in Arabia of the Ishmaelites, named from the second son of Cush, probably the district of Kalan in the northwestern part of Yemen, the son of Cush, the son of Joktan. Okay, so kind of giving you guys an idea of that. So we read that, got that. Havilah, Saptar, Rehamah, Sabita. Okay, let's see if there's anywhere else. Okay, how about Dedan? Let's look up Dedan. 1719, Dedan, son of Rehamah, grandson of Cush, sons of Jakshan, and the grandson of Keturah. Okay, a place in South Arabia. Okay, see, and this is something. Okay, look, we're getting geographical location. We're getting geographical location just based off someone's name. That's why it's important. So when when we start looking at history, sometimes history gets lost because of name changes. Because a lot of times we forget in history, a lot of times when someone or land was conquered, the conqueror will rename the land, rename the region, rename the territory, rename people, and then it gets lost in history. Are you guys with me? Amen? Does that make sense? Give me a 100 if that makes sense. So far, so good. So that's how we lose things. It gets lost in translation because sometimes when we don't look behind, we don't investigate. All of a sudden, oh, this is the first time such and such popped up. No, maybe you gotta look at history. Was it conquered? Was a name change? What happened? Okay. Yeah. Lasonia, Kasim. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. If you were not Israelite, you're a Gentile. Okay, and then we're gonna keep it simple. Okay, understood. Thank you, brother Julio Gonzalez. Thank you, appreciate it. We want to keep it nice and simple. Thank you very much. Nice and simple. There's no need. Think about all that stuff you've heard over the months and over the years, right? It doesn't apply here because you hadn't got to any of that. There's no cause for confusion because we hadn't gotten to any of that. So it is what it is. The lost. When you go with definitions, right? Basically, there's this rule. Okay, it's called the law of first mention, right? Meaning that is the definition of a word until later on, if it's otherwise explicitly or at least by context changes or the meaning change. We hadn't got there yet. We hadn't got to lost Israelites yet. So you cannot apply that here. We don't have any Israelites yet. They don't exist yet. Okay, so we have something called the law of first mention, right? So, and that means whatever the definition is, that's what it is. That's all you got. That's what it is until otherwise explicitly or contextually redefined. Plain and simple. Let's continue. Okay, so it says, and Cush begat, verse 8, and Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech and Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Okay, we're going to look at Babel real quick. It's 894. Okay, and Babel or Babylon, the ancient site and or capital of Babylonia, okay, situated on the Euphrates. Okay, so now we have an idea of where that is. We have the Tower of Babel. Now we kind of have a geographical location, right? Now we're starting to get an idea. Erech, Akkad, okay, now we're going to keep on going. Verse 11, out of that land went forth Ashur and built Nineveh and the city Rehoboth and Calah. And Rezin between Nineveh and Calah, the same is a great city, giving us geographical locations, okay? Sometimes you can't find it because it has been renamed or destroyed, okay? Wiped off the map. You got to keep some of those things in mind. And Mitzrayim began Ludim and Anamim and Lehabim and Ephtuhim and Pasrusim and Calsalusim, out of whom came Philistine and Cathortorim. Okay, and Cathtorim, sorry. And Canaan began Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and Girgashite, and the Havite, and the Archite, and the Sinite. So as we see, Ham, from Ham, now remember, these are a lot of various African people. These are melanated people, okay? Nimrod, black African ruler, black African conqueror. Okay, we got to get this in context. We know where they are. We know where the land was inhabited. We know it's it's around Egypt. It's southern of that. It's a little west of that. A little north of we have the context now. Now we have the context. Bless each and every one of you. All right, so let's look. Let's keep looking right here. So these are African people, right? They're different. They go by different names now today. But these are various African people, right? Unless the Bible otherwise say, hey, they've been destroyed or wiped off the face of the earth, stuff like that, okay? Unless it says that. But otherwise, it's a name change, okay? All right, verse 18. And the Arvadite and the Zemarites and the Hamathites and afterwards were the families and the Canaanites spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites were from Sidon and thou comest to Gerar and unto Gaza. And thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. And these are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues, in their countries and in their nations. So we just talk about Africa. That's what we're talking about. Africa, starting at around Egypt and Ethiopia and stuff, but working our way down, right? Because right now, it's not a lot of people at this point, okay? It's not a lot of people. The number of groups are growing, okay? The branches of the trees haven't fully spread, okay? So let's look at it like that. And again, we're going back and forth out of the Strongs. We're keeping it nice and simple. Can't lose anybody yet. I haven't jumped around. Everything is complete context. And then we look behind words. That's the nature of this particular study. Okay, so let's see here. I am in verse 21. Yeah, verse 21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber. Now we're talking about Hebrews, okay? Now we're talking about Hebrews, all right? So everything I was talking about before was Africans, okay? Ham, Africa. Ham, Africa. Hamites. Shem are the Hebrews, okay? These are Hebrews. This is where Abraham comes from. Isaac, Jacob. This is, okay? So this is what we're talking about, okay? Nice and simple. And unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japhet, the elder, even to him were children born. So even he had children too, is what the Bible is saying. The children of Shem, Elam and Ashur and Arphaxad and Lud and Aram. Okay, so we're gonna look at that. Okay, Elam is probably just gonna say one of Shem's children. 5867, Elam. Okay, a Korhite, Levite in the time of David. So we're not talking about him. A chief man of tribe of Benjamin. We're not talking about him. Ancestors of the family of exiles who returned to Zerubbabel. Not talking about him. A chief of the people who signed the covenant with Nehemiah. Not talking about him. Another ancestor of another family of exiles who returned to Zerubbabel. Nope. A priest who assisted at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem in the time of Nehemiah. Not talking about him either. And another head of a family of returning exiles, and a province east of Babylon and northeast of the lower Tigris. Okay, so we know that Elam, a son of Shem, and then it's okay, Elam, a son of Shem, and his descendants, which with their country. Okay, right there. Of course, it says, also of 6 Israelites, Elam. Okay, six Israelites were called Elam. Okay, but it's the son of Shem. We know it's the son of Shem. We just read it, right? We know it's the son of Shem. Okay, and Ashur and Arphaxad and Lud and Aram. Okay, let's see Arphaxad. Okay, so we're talking about a Hebrew third son of Shem. Okay, all right. Basically, it's just the third son of Shem. So we're going to keep on going. All right, 23. And the children of Aram, Uz and Hul and Gether and Mash. I want to look at Uz, right? Let's see, Uts. Okay, how to pronounce it says Uts. Son of Aram and grandson of Seth. There we go. Son of Nahor and Milcah, but we got it already. Then fourth, they say the country of Job, probably east and southeast of Palestine, somewhere in the Arabian desert. Okay, so where Job was at the time. Okay, so we have that. Okay, and and Gether and Mash. We're gonna keep going. And Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber. Okay, so we're gonna look at Eber. Okay, this is where you start to get Hebrew. This is where we get Hebrew from. Eber. Okay, son of Salah, great grandson of Shem, father of Peleg and Joktan. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so we do have that. And it says the name of 2 patriarchs and 4 Israelites. Eber. Okay, so we're going into the Hebrews. This is what we're talking about. The Hebrews. Okay, and unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan begat Almadad and Shelef and Hazar Marvet and Jarah and Hodaram and Uzal and Dikla and Hebal and Abimael and Sheba and Ophir and Havilah and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. Okay, so this, now you're starting to get Hebrew people, right? This is a Hebrew people, various Hebrew people groups, right? And so of these groups, I mean, there's like, I believe 6 or 7 Hebrew groups, right? Talking about, Abraham and Lot, of course, and then Lot, he had 2 more with with his daughters, and then you have 2 more Hebrew groups, but we'll get to that. Okay, and their dwellings from Mishah, as thou goest unto Shephar, as a mount of the east. And these are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. And these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations, in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So we just did both of those. And now I hope you guys have a deeper, a richer understanding. That's the whole purpose of these deep dives. Okay, we're looking behind names, we're looking behind words, we're looking behind it so we can understand what's going on. Some people don't like that kind of stuff. Some people don't do that. They don't like that. Okay, some people are married to their presupposition. But what can I say? We like to let the Bible speak, and that's exactly what I want to do. We let the Bible speak. You do it this way. How can someone tell you you're keeping it out of context? That's all you're reading is context. That's all you're reading. You're reading straight through, and you say, "Oh, you know what? Let me look at the definition of that word." How can you take it out of context? Okay, it's pretty hard. I mean, it's possible, but that'll be you twisting. But if you let it say what it is saying, use proper exegesis, you do well. So now we're going to go ahead and go to chapter 11. Wow, we went 40 minutes on that. I don't know if we're going to get to chapter 12, but let's just see, guys. Let's just see. I think chapter 10 was pretty juicy. Again, this is the people group. This is how the world was start to repopulate, right? So in the scriptures, chapter 11, starting at verse 1, and all the earth had one language and one speech. And it came to be, as they set out from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Now all the people were still together. They were having their they were together, they're having their families, having their children, but they dwelt together and they still had only one language, right? I'm thinking it's Hebrew. I'm not gonna guarantee that. It has to be more study, but I'm thinking it's probably Hebrew. But don't take my word for it. You have to do your own research. And they said unto each other, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them together, bake them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. Okay. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens, and make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over all the face of the earth." Then Yahweh, or you could say then Yahweh came down to see. So yeah, Yahweh. Then Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And Yahweh said, "Look, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. And now they are not going to be withheld from doing whatever they plan to do. Come, let us go there and confuse their language, so that they do not understand one another's speech." And Yahweh scattered them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. That is why its name was called Babel, because there Yahweh confused the language of all the earth, and from there Yahweh scattered them over the face of all the earth. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and brought forth Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And after he brought forth Arphaxad, Shem lived 500 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and brought forth Shelah. And after he brought forth Shelah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and brought forth Eber. And after he brought forth Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years and brought forth Peleg. And after he brought forth Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and brought forth Reu. And after he brought forth Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Reu, this is what it looks like in the scriptures, so forgive me. And Reu lived 32 years and brought forth Serug. And after he brought forth Serug, Reu lived 207 years and brought forth sons and daughters. Now remember what it's saying, brought forth sons and daughters, brought forth sons and daughters. And people are like, well, who made him? They got both sons and daughters, okay? Sons and daughters. Now the race of a people starts with the father, right? Because all we're talking about is the father. This man had a son. We know he did it with a woman. Okay, but I'm sorry. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We read straight through on this go around. Okay. Where do we go? Confuse the language. Brought forth sons and daughters. There we go. And Serug lived 30 years and brought forth Nahor. And after he brought forth Nahor, Serug lived 200 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and brought forth Terah. And after he brought forth Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the genealogy of Terah. Terah brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran brought forth Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth in Kasdim. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah. And the daughters of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Yishka. And Sarai was barren; she had no child. And Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Kasdim to go to the land of Canaan or Canaan, and they came to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Okay, so now we have, now it's starting to break down, and we're starting to get into the people, that we're used to seeing, throughout the Bible. But we see, there's Abraham. So we're going to go to Genesis 11 in the Strongs, the KJV and the Strongs. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So, and the whole earth was one language and of one speech. Okay, so one language. Okay, Safa, language, lip, language, speech, shore bank, breach. Okay, so we have that. Okay, we know we're talking. And of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick of stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down. Now, in here, it says Lord, but we know Lord is Yahovah or Yahweh. All right. The proper name of the one God. Okay. So we can go, it's Yahweh or Yahuwah. Right? So, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men build. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go, let us go down and there confound their language. So let's confound. Okay, we're confused, but let's see. Balal, okay. To mix, mingle, to confuse, to confound, to mix. Okay. All right. So we have that. So now, when you're building something, you need a lot of cooperation so you can work together, right? But if we don't understand a word each other is saying, it can get a little bit frustrating and slow down the entire process. So that's what's going on completely. And then you have, think about it, they said it's been as much as like 7 different languages, right? So can you imagine, one minute you're doing your thing, next minute someone is speaking a Greek language, someone's speaking German, someone's speaking Russian, someone's speaking Cantonese, all these different languages. I mean, and all of you trying to work together, and all you speak only one language, that new language that you just got, that's it. For 1 minute you're like, wait, what's going on? We were all speaking Hebrew. I don't understand what any of them saying. So that's just one of those things we have to keep in mind, and it makes it really hard to work together because everyone has a different language. Everyone has a different language. So that can be pretty hard and slow things way, way down, right? Okay, so let's see here. Let's go down, confuse the language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel. Okay? Because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. These are the generations of Shem. And Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years, and he begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And I like that they're letting us know this. What we have to remember, what they're saying is that, okay, this is the age, this particular son or progenitor or patriarch, this is the age that they had said child, right? Okay, at 29 years old, at 30 years old, at 35 years old. And then it says this is how long they lived after that particular son, right? So if it says, for example, Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years, so he got Arphaxad, okay, 2 years after. It said, if you go to verse 10, it says Shem was 100 years old. He was 100 and begat. So he was 100. Then he had Arphaxad, right? Okay, he was 100. And then it says Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years. So he lived another 500 years after that son. So we got to pay attention when the Bible is saying that. So if you're mapping out and doing a timeline, you could say, okay, flood, and it says, okay, he was 100 years. This is 2 years after the flood. Okay, so you can go, okay, the flood, and you got 2 years there, and then he's 100 years old. He had Arphaxad, and then you go back, then you go another 400 years. So then all these timelines start to match up, right? So you have Noah, Ham, Shem, and Japhet on this side of the flood, and then you have their ages, and then you have the flood, and then you have how long did they live after the flood, and you just put everyone down and you start following that timeline. And then you'll notice some overlap in those timelines. Okay, and this is how they could know each other, even though they can be pretty far removed. But you're like, oh, okay, so this person was alive when this person was around, because this person lived 3, 4, 5, 600 years, right? So now just do that map. There's some timeline maps out there, beautiful, and it really give you clarity. Okay, a picture is truly worth 1,000 words. And let's see here. So it says it had daughters and stuff, and Arphaxad lived 5 and 35. Then he had Salah, and Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 400 years and 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and sons and daughters, and Eber lived 4 and 35 years and begat Peleg. So he was 35 years old, then he had Peleg, right? But how long did he live after that? And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. So he had both sons and daughters, because that's how your name continues. It's not that women have no value. He had a baby. He had a son. Therefore, a woman was there, right? So it's real, very, very common sense. Okay, and then and Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived, let's see here, lived after he begat Reu, and I'm gonna look that up just to make sure I'm saying it correct. 209 years and begat sons and daughters. So I'm gonna look up Reu real quick, because Reu, yeah, Reu, got it right. Hey, cookie for me. Okay, so Reu. Okay, verse 20. And Reu lived 2 and 30 years and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. So he just went ahead and threw in 3 sons right away. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram and Nahor and Haran begat Lot. Okay, so now you see right here, Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. So Abram and Haran are brothers, and Lot is the son of Haran. So when we get to, okay, Abraham and Lot, his nephew. Okay, so this is how we have that. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, where he was born, in Ur of the Chaldees. Okay. And Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, and the daughters of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Ishkah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, okay, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, okay, grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, or Abram's wife. And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came into Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Okay, so he lived 205 years. Okay, guys, so Man, I'm gonna have to change the title. I wanted to go to chapter 12, but hey, we're already approaching an hour, and we read 2 chapters and broke it down. So let me go up to the channel to see what you guys are talking about. See some of the comments in there. Let's take a look. All right, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna read some of the comments. Say shalom to some of you guys because I appreciate you guys joining me. Sanja Page, Shabbat Shalom. Lasonia Kisim, Shabbat Shalom. Trisha T, Happy Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom from Michigan. Michigan is in the house. Love it. Julio Gonzalez, Shalom, brother. Shalom, shalom. Evan Davis, brother, we shalom. All right, Evan Davis, shalom. Appreciate it. Okay, CF, okay, Shabbat Shalom. He said only Europeans are Gentiles. Okay, I see you. I see you. CF. Okay, another Julio Gonzalez, Lasonia, Sandra Page. Okay, my bro, appreciate it. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, family. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. We don't mind here, Fountain of Israel. You can say hey, Happy Sabbath. You can say Shabbat Shalom. You can say Shalom. We don't make a fuss about that. We all about just kind of getting the word, getting a good, clear understanding. Okay, Shalom, Shalom, CF. My bro. Let's see what he says. Okay, Ham is Africa. Israel is Shem. Yes, sir, it is. My bro, you are 100% correct. Okay. All right. Are Morrow. Okay, I hope I said that right. Forgive me if I didn't. Hope I said that right. Are Morrow, descendants of Ham, destroyed in those 2 cities. So Sodom and Gomorrah were black people. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll get there. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. But okay, Ham, CF. He said Ham and Shem both from Africa. So if Ham is African, so is Shem. You go down there. No, Shem is more like in the Middle East. Okay. Yeah, so it was more kind of a Middle East kind of thing. Ham is progenitor of the dark races. Yes, Libya put Mitzrayim, Canaan, not the Negroes. Absolutely correct, my bro. Lynn, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, sister. Michael Harg. Okay, I hope I said that right. Happy Sabbath, brother. Happy Sabbath. Okay. He said everybody in Africa with different ethnicity. Yeah, there's a lot of different people groups in Africa. They're not all the same. Okay, we read the sons of Ham is different, and then it starts branching out, over time. Okay, my bro, he said Eber equals Hebrew. Yes, it does, sir. Yes, it does. Okay, Lasonia Kitten, without overstepping my bounds, brothers and sisters, let the brother read the scriptures. There's time for Q&A on this. Thank you, Lasonia Kissam. I appreciate it. Thank you, I appreciate it. I love it. Okay, Lasonia Kassim, gotcha. Okay, Elohim word is above all man's knowledge. Are you here to cause chaos and confusion? This is the Sabbath, Elohim's day, a day for peace and worship. Yes, 100% agree, Kassim. Okay, 100% agree, Lasonia Kassim. I hope I said that right. All right, let's see here. All right, see if you're getting a little. You know what? We're just gonna let that. We're gonna let that rock for right now because this is getting a little moving away for the topic. The whole point of this, we're just trying to learn and walk through the Bible together. So let's continue to do that. We're gonna keep pushing forward. Evan Davis, Virginia. Oh yeah, Virginia, Richmond, VA. I love it. I don't know why I was about to say Virginia. Richmond, VA. J.D. Mosley. Shabbat Shalom, brother. Shabbat Shalom. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. So. All right. Okay, so we're gonna. All right, so that's what we have there. Okay, guys. So, like I said, I like to keep these about an hour. I don't want any of us to get restless. I don't want us to, go, mind numb or anything like that. I'll probably have to change the title a little bit later. Forgive me for not getting to chapter 12. I try to do 3 chapters, but I try to keep it within the parameters of 1 hour to kind of concentrate everything that we're trying to do. As you guys know, you look on the channel, I mean, I got some lessons 2 hours, I got a few of them that's like 3 hours, if you look at the Black History from the Bible. which is another series I would love for you to review for the month of February, okay, in honor of, Black History Month or whatever. Go back to the channel, look at Black history from the Bible, right? And you start with the color and the curses, and then you move on. It's really 4 parts, okay? One for every Shabbat, okay? So you want to look at those. I definitely recommend that if you want that. Thank you, Evan Davis. I appreciate you too, man. I appreciate you too, for real. I really mean that, because you could be doing anything on the Shabbat. You can be listening to anyone, you can be doing anything else, but you chose to spend time with me, and let's just fellowship and let's just learn together, okay? We're not going to be, splitting doctrinal hairs or anything like that. We're just going to read the scripture and let the scripture speak to us. That's how I want to do it. Let the scripture speak to us. What is it saying? And we're just going to go from there. So I appreciate you very much. I appreciate all you guys, family of believers. But with that, I'm gonna go. I read through the comments there, and see if there's any questions or anything. I appreciate, amen, Trisha T. Appreciate you. Keep coming back. We're gonna do this every Shabbat, right? So you just keep on coming back every Shabbat, and we're gonna do these levels. We're gonna walk through. We're gonna go through the Strongs. We're gonna go through the scriptures. We just want a deeper understanding, okay? I appreciate. Thank you, Sister Lynn. I appreciate that very much. And I'm gonna keep bringing it. Okay, I'm gonna keep bringing it. But let me just go ahead and recommend, since it is February, go look at the lessons. Black history from the Bible, whatever. I mean, it's just a good time to go through those. Okay, so when we do these, then what I'll do is I'll try to recommend some of the other ones that we already did. So I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Okay, thank you very, very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Oh man, I appreciate the love. Shabbat shalom, family. Shabbat shalom. Appreciate it. I want you guys to get into the scriptures. I want you guys to keep learning, keep studying, get with your family, and and rest. This is his day of rest, and just reflect on this word, reflect on the things that we learn. Okay, don't let anybody take anything away from you. You just read it for yourself. You read it for yourself. Some people can do a lot of word sorcery, and you don't need that. Okay, a lot of people do a lot of word sorcery, but guess what? You checked it out for yourself. You read it for yourself. Okay, it is what it is. If other people don't like what it's saying, you didn't write the book. I didn't write the book. We're just reading it. That's all we're doing. Okay, so you got other people have a problem, and you just reading it plain and simple. That's it. That's their problem. That's not your problem. That's their problem. I read line for line. I looked behind the words. I followed along with a Bible teacher. Dude, I'm not gonna let you confuse me. Okay, that's all you have to do. Shalom, Latrice Jones. That's all you have to do. I'm not gonna let you confuse me. I'm reading it for myself. I read it. I'm looking at different versions. I'm doing it all. I'm doing it all. So you don't let some shyster come around and confuse you, okay? They can bring up all this other stuff, but you hadn't even got there. So nothing is taken away from. Nothing is taken out of context. Nothing is taken from you, okay? So hallelujah. All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And with that, I hope someone has been edified. Until next time, family, search the scriptures and prove all things. Shalom.